Hey, Pisces, I need to share something with you today that honestly gave me chills when the cards started revealing themselves. I was sitting with my deck this morning, thinking about what you all need to hear right now, and the energy that came through was intense. This reading is about truth, karma, and something coming that you might not see approaching yet. So grab your coffee or tea, get comfortable, because we need to talk about what the universe is showing me for you. Before I dive into the cards, I just want to say that this reading felt different from the moment I started shuffling. There was this heaviness, but also this sense of liberation mixed together. Like when you know something big is about to shift and you can feel it in your bones. And Pisces, the theme that kept coming through, was about sudden revelations and karmic justice finally catching up to certain people in your life. This is your year of truth, and I mean that in the deepest way possible. So let me tell you about the first card that came through. I pulled the Five of Pentacles, and honestly, when I saw it, I had to pause for a moment. This card is showing me that there has been a period where you felt left out in the cold. And I'm not just talking about feeling lonely or isolated. I'm talking about a specific situation where you felt abandoned or excluded by people you thought would be there for you. This could have been a financial struggle, an emotional abandonment, or even a spiritual crisis where you felt like the universe itself had turned its back on you. What really stands out about this card in your reading is the timing of it. The Five of Pentacles is telling me that this difficult period you went through was actually setting the stage for everything that's about to unfold. You know how sometimes we go through these dark nights of the soul and we can't understand why it's happening? This was one of those times, but here's what the cards are showing me, and this is where it gets interesting. While you were struggling, while you were feeling forgotten and overlooked, there were people who were actively working against you. People who saw your vulnerability and instead of helping, they kicked you while you were down. The energy around this card is showing me betrayal during a time of need. Someone or multiple people saw that you were going through hardship, and they used that as an opportunity to advance themselves or to make themselves look better. They might have taken credit for your work, they might have spread rumors about why you were struggling, or they might have actively blocked opportunities that could have helped you. And the worst part? They probably acted like they cared about you to your face. They might have even offered sympathy while secretly feeling satisfied that you were down. But Pisces, here's what you need to understand about the Five of Pentacles in this position. Every moment you spent in that cold, every tear you shed, every night you stayed up wondering why this was happening to you, all of that was being recorded by the universe. Karma doesn't miss anything. Those people who wronged you during your lowest moment, they set something in motion that they can't stop now. And that's what this reading is really about. The Five of Pentacles is also showing me your resilience, because despite everything, despite feeling abandoned and alone, you kept going. You didn't give up. You might have wanted to, and honestly, who could blame you? But you kept putting one foot in front of the other. And that strength, that determination to survive even when you felt like you had nothing left, that's what's going to carry you through what's coming. Because you've already proven to yourself that you can handle the worst. And now you're about to see why you had to go through all of that. I also want to talk about the spiritual aspect of this card, because for you, Pisces, being naturally intuitive and sensitive, the Five of Pentacles wasn't just about material or emotional struggle, it was also about feeling disconnected from your spiritual source. You might have felt like your prayers weren't being heard, like your intuition had abandoned you, like the universe that you always trusted had gone silent. That spiritual isolation was perhaps even harder than the material struggles, because you've always relied on that connection to guide you. But what I'm seeing in the energy around this card is that your spiritual connection never actually left you. It's just that you were being prepared for something bigger, and that preparation required you to develop a different kind of faith. Not the easy faith of when everything is going well, but the deep, unshakable faith that sustains you even when you can't see any evidence that things will get better. You were learning to trust without proof, to believe without seeing, and that's a level of spiritual maturity that only comes through hardship. The Five of Pentacles is also revealing to me the specific nature of what you were excluded from. This wasn't just general bad luck. You were deliberately left out of opportunities, gatherings, or support systems that you should have had access to. Maybe it was a family situation where you weren't invited to important events or weren't included in family decisions. Maybe it was a work situation where you were excluded from meetings or projects that you should have been part of. Maybe it was a social situation where your friends started doing things without you and you couldn't understand why. And here's the thing that the cards are making very clear. This exclusion wasn't random. It was orchestrated by people who felt threatened by you in some way. They saw something in you that made them uncomfortable or envious, so they tried to diminish you by cutting you off. They thought that by excluding you, they could somehow limit your power or your potential. They thought they could keep you in a weakened state indefinitely. But what they didn't realize is that by forcing you into that isolated period, they actually gave you the space and time to develop strengths and insights that you wouldn't have gained otherwise. The Five of Pentacles in this reading is showing me that your period of hardship is coming to a close. But more importantly, it's showing me that everything you learned during that time is about to become extremely relevant. You developed patience, you developed humility, you developed empathy for others who are struggling, and you developed an unshakable sense of self that doesn't depend on external validation or support. These qualities are going to be crucial for what's ahead because you're about to step into a position where others will look to you for guidance and strength, and you'll be able to offer that because you've been where they are. Now, let me move to the second card because this is where things start to get really interesting. I pulled the Ace of Cups and the energy completely shifted when this card came out. If the Five of Pentacles was about depletion and isolation, the Ace of Cups is about the opposite. This is about emotional renewal, new beginnings in love and relationships, and a fresh start for your heart. But what's fascinating about this card appearing after the Five of Pentacles is the timing and the context. The Ace of Cups is telling me that something new is coming into your life, and it's going to feel like water in a desert. After all that time of feeling emotionally drained and disconnected, you're about to experience a surge of new emotional energy. This could manifest as a new relationship, a renewed connection with someone from your past, or even a completely new way of relating to yourself and others. But here's what really caught my attention about this card in your spread. The timing of the Ace of Cups suggests that this new beginning is directly connected to the karmic theme of this reading. See, while you were going through your Five of Pentacles period, while you were isolated and struggling, you were also unknowingly preparing space in your life for something pure and genuine. You were being emptied out so that you could be filled with something real. All the fake relationships, the toxic connections, the people who weren't truly for you, they all fell away during that difficult time. And now the Ace of Cups is saying that the emptiness you felt wasn't permanent. It was preparation. What I'm seeing with the Ace of Cups is that this new emotional beginning comes with a level of clarity that you didn't have before. You've been through enough now that you can recognize genuine love and connection when you see it. You're not going to be fooled by surface-level charm or manipulation anymore. The Ace of Cups represents pure emotion, uncomplicated by ego or hidden agendas. And you're finally at a place where you can recognize that kind of authenticity because you've experienced the opposite. There's also something about the Ace of Cups that's speaking to your creativity and spiritual gifts. Aces are always about potential and new beginnings. And in the Suit of Cups, this is about emotional and creative potential. I'm seeing that you're about to enter a phase where your intuitive and creative abilities are going to flow more freely than they have in a long time. That spiritual connection that felt severed during the Five of Pentacles period, it's coming back, but stronger and clearer than before. The Ace of Cups is also showing me something about divine timing. This new beginning isn't something you can force or rush. It's coming to you as a gift from the universe, almost like a reward for making it through the difficult period represented by the Five of Pentacles. And here's what's beautiful about this. The people who wronged you, the ones who are about to face their karma, they're going to see you receiving this blessing. They're going to watch as you move into a new phase of emotional fulfillment and spiritual clarity while they're dealing with the consequences of their actions. There's an element of the Ace of Cups that speaks to forgiveness as well, but not the kind of forgiveness that means accepting bad behavior or letting people back into your life who hurt you. This is about you reaching a place of emotional peace, where you no longer carry the weight of what happened to you. The Ace of Cups is showing me that you're being released from the emotional burden of your past struggles. You don't have to carry that pain anymore. You don't have to define yourself by what you survived. You get to move forward lighter and freer than you've been in a long time. I'm also seeing with the Ace of Cups that this new beginning might surprise you in terms of where it comes from. You might be expecting something to happen in one area of your life, but this new emotional beginning could come from a completely unexpected direction. It might be a person you haven't met yet, or it might be an opportunity that doesn't look like what you thought you wanted, but turns out to be exactly what you needed. Stay open to possibilities that don't fit your preconceived notions of what your life should look like. The Ace of Cups is also speaking to your capacity for love and connection growing beyond what it was before. You're not the same person who went into that Five of Pentacles period. You've been transformed by what you've experienced, and your capacity to give and receive love has actually expanded. You understand now what real love looks like because you've seen what it doesn't look like. You know what genuine support feels like because you experienced the absence of it. And this wisdom is going to serve you incredibly well as you move into this new phase. Let me pull the third card now because the energy is building and I can feel we're moving toward some major revelations. The card that came out is the Ten of Swords. And okay, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw this card, my heart sank a little because it's visually one of the most intense cards in the deck. But as I sat with it and felt into the energy for your reading specifically, I realized this card is actually incredibly important for understanding the full story of what's happening. The Ten of Swords represents an ending, and usually it's an ending that feels painful or even traumatic. It's the card of betrayal, of things coming to a complete conclusion, of a cycle that has definitively closed. But here's what's crucial about this card in your reading, Pisces. This isn't about something bad that's coming toward you. This is about something that has already happened or is in the process of completing right now. The Ten of Swords is the final card of the sword suit, which means it represents the absolute end of a mental or communicative cycle. What I'm seeing is that the Ten of Swords represents the moment when you finally saw the truth about certain people or situations in your life. This was probably a painful realization, maybe even devastating when it first hit you. It's that moment when you can't deny anymore what someone really is or what a situation really was. All the illusions fall away and you're left staring at a truth that hurts, but that you can no longer avoid. For some of you, this might have been discovering betrayal. For others, it might have been finally accepting that someone you loved was never who you thought they were. The Ten of Swords in this position is showing me that this painful ending or realization was actually necessary for your evolution. As much as it hurt, and I'm not minimizing that pain because the Ten of Swords is genuinely one of the most difficult cards to experience, it was the catalyst for everything that's about to unfold. That moment of complete ending, of having everything stripped away, that was your liberation, even though it didn't feel like it at the time. Here's where the karmic aspect really comes into play with the Ten of Swords. The people who betrayed you, who hurt you, who were represented in your experience of this card, they thought they had won. The Ten of Swords often comes with a sense of defeat, of being completely overwhelmed or taken down. And I'm seeing that these people who wronged you saw you in that defeated state, and they probably felt victorious. They might have even celebrated your downfall privately or publicly. They thought they had successfully destroyed your reputation, your confidence, your position, or whatever it was they were attacking. But what they didn't understand, what they couldn't see because they were too focused on their temporary victory, is that the Ten of Swords is always followed by new beginnings. The Suit of Swords has to completely end before something new can begin. And by taking you down to that point of absolute ending, they actually facilitated your rebirth. They cleared away everything that was holding you back, even though that wasn't their intention at all. They were trying to destroy you, but what they actually did was set the stage for your transformation. The Ten of Swords is also showing me something about mental clarity. After the pain of this card passes, after the shock wears off, what you're left with is absolute clarity about who people really are and what situations really mean. There's no more confusion, no more wondering, no more giving people the benefit of the doubt when they don't deserve it. The Ten of Swords cuts through all illusion and leaves you with stark, undeniable truth. And while that truth might hurt initially, it's also incredibly freeing because you can finally stop questioning yourself. I'm seeing that for many of you Pisces. The Ten of Swords experience involved people turning against you collectively. It wasn't just one person betraying you, it was multiple people seeming to align against you at once. Maybe there were rumors spread about you. Maybe you were excluded from a group. Maybe people you thought were friends suddenly showed their true colors all at the same time. This collective betrayal was particularly painful because it made you question everything you thought you knew about the people in your life. But here's what the Ten of Swords is revealing about that experience. It had to happen that way. You had to see clearly, all at once, who these people really were. If it had happened gradually, you might have made excuses for them. You might have tried to repair relationships that needed to end. You might have stayed in situations that were toxic for you. The sudden, complete nature of the Ten of Swords experience was actually a mercy in disguise, because it didn't leave any room for doubt or false hope. The Ten of Swords is also speaking to a kind of death and rebirth process. The old version of you, the one who existed before this betrayal or realization, that version of you had to die. Your old way of seeing the world, your old way of trusting people, your old assumptions about how relationships work, all of that had to be destroyed so that you could be rebuilt with a stronger foundation. And as painful as that process was, you're about to see why it was necessary. There's something else coming through with the Ten of Swords that I need to mention. This card is showing me that the betrayal or ending you experienced wasn't just about you. It was also revealing the true character of the people who betrayed you. They showed everyone, including themselves, what they were capable of. And that revelation is going to be extremely important as their karma unfolds. Because when consequences come for them, when they start reaping what they've sown, they won't be able to claim ignorance or innocence. Their actions towards you revealed their true nature, and that truth is going to catch up with them. Now let's move to the fourth card, and this one is significant. I pulled the Devil, and before anyone panics, let me explain what I'm seeing here, because this card in the context of your reading is absolutely fascinating. The Devil card traditionally represents bondage, addiction, toxic patterns, and being trapped by material desires or unhealthy attachments. But in your reading, the Devil isn't about you. This card is about the people who wronged you and what's driving them. The Devil is showing me that the people who betrayed you, who caused you pain during your Five of Pentacles period, who delivered that Ten of Swords blow, these people are trapped in their own darkness. They're bound by jealousy, by greed, by their own insecurities and fears. What they did to you wasn't really about you at all. It was about their own internal chains, their own demons, their own inability to see beyond their own limited perspective and desires. What's really interesting about the Devil appearing in this reading is what it reveals about motive. These people who hurt you, they weren't operating from a place of strength or confidence. They were operating from a place of deep insecurity and fear. The Devil represents being controlled by our lower nature, by our shadow side, by the parts of ourselves that we haven't healed or integrated. And that's exactly what was driving their behavior toward you. I'm seeing that at least one person in this situation has an almost obsessive quality to their negativity toward you. The Devil can indicate unhealthy obsession, and this person can't seem to let you go or move on from whatever happened between you. They're bound to this negative energy toward you in a way that's actually hurting them more than it's hurting you at this point. They might stalk your social media, they might bring your name up in conversations where it's not relevant, they might constantly compare themselves to you. This obsessive energy is part of their bondage. The devil is also revealing something about materialism and worldly success being used as a substitute for genuine fulfillment. I'm seeing that some of the people who wronged you did so because they were chasing material success, status, or recognition. They were willing to compromise their integrity, to betray friendships or relationships, to step on others, all in pursuit of things that don't actually bring lasting satisfaction. They're trapped in the belief that more money, more status, more recognition will finally make them feel good enough, but it never does. So they keep pursuing these things at the expense of everything else, including basic human decency. There's also an element of the devil that speaks to denial and self-deception. These people who hurt you, they've probably convinced themselves that what they did was justified. They've created narratives where they're the victims or where their actions were necessary, or where you somehow deserved what happened. The devil shows me that they're living in a kind of self-created prison of their own lies and justifications. They can't see the truth of what they did, because acknowledging that truth would be too painful for their ego. The devil in this reading is also pointing to the idea of karmic debt accumulating. Every time these people acted from their shadow side, every time they chose cruelty over kindness, every time they prioritized their ego over integrity, they were adding to a karmic bill that eventually has to be paid. And the thing about the devil card is that it represents being trapped in patterns that are ultimately self-destructive. These people are creating their own downfall through their choices and behaviors. What I'm seeing very clearly with the devil is that these people are about to face the consequences of their bondage. When you're trapped in devil energy, you eventually hit a wall. The lies catch up with you, the manipulation stops working, the mask slips, and people see who you really are. And that moment of exposure is coming for the people who wronged you. They've been operating in darkness, in hidden malice, in secret cruelty, but darkness always eventually comes to light. The devil is also showing me a specific kind of karma that involves these people becoming trapped by the very things they used against others. If they manipulated others for money, they're going to find themselves in financial bondage. If they lied to get ahead, they're going to be caught in their own web of lies. If they betrayed trust for personal gain, they're going to find themselves unable to trust anyone and unable to be trusted. The devil represents the universe holding up a mirror and making us face what we've become. There's something else about the devil that's coming through strongly. This card is showing me that these people have been given multiple chances to change, multiple opportunities to break free from their negative patterns, but they've chosen again and again to stay trapped in their toxicity. The devil energy is stubborn and resistant to change because there's a part of us that finds comfort in our chains, in our familiar patterns, even when they're destructive. And these people have chosen their chains over their freedom repeatedly. Now I'm pulling the fifth card, and this is where we're moving into the heart of the reading. The card that came out is the Eight of Swords. And when I saw this after the devil, I understood immediately what the universe is showing me. The Eight of Swords is a card of feeling trapped, of being blindfolded and bound, of mental imprisonment and self-imposed limitations. But in the context of this reading, this card is revealing something crucial about both where you've been and where the people who wronged you are heading. First, let me talk about how the Eight of Swords relates to your journey. This card is showing me that during your difficult period, you felt trapped by circumstances, by other people's perceptions, by limitations that seemed insurmountable. The Eight of Swords often appears when we feel like we have no options, like we're stuck in a situation with no way out. And I'm seeing that this feeling of entrapment was very real for you. You might have felt like you couldn't speak your truth because no one would believe you, or you couldn't leave a situation because you didn't have the resources, or you couldn't defend yourself because the deck was stacked against you. But here's what's fascinating about the Eight of Swords. The traditional imagery shows a person bound and blindfolded, surrounded by swords. But if you look closely, the bindings are loose enough to escape from, and the blindfold could be removed. The imprisonment is largely mental and self-imposed. And what I'm seeing for you, Pisces, is that you've been, or you're in the process of removing your own blindfold and loosening your own bindings. You're realizing that you have more power and more options than you thought you did. The Eight of Swords is showing me a breakthrough in perspective. You're starting to see that the limitations you felt were partly created by your own beliefs and assumptions. Maybe you thought you couldn't survive without certain people or situations, but you're discovering that you can. Maybe you thought you needed approval or validation from people who hurt you, but you're realizing that their opinion of you isn't actually relevant to your worth or your path. The Eight of Swords is about that moment when you realize the prison door was never actually locked. But now let's talk about how the Eight of Swords applies to the people who wronged you, because this is where the karmic aspect becomes really clear. The Eight of Swords is showing me that these people are about to enter their own period of feeling trapped and limited. Remember how I said, the devil represents being bound by your own negative patterns? Well, the Eight of Swords is what that bondage feels like from the inside. It's the panic, the confusion, the sense of walls closing in, the feeling of being trapped by circumstances that you can't control. What's happening is that the people who tried to trap and limit you are about to experience their own entrapment. And here's the poetic justice in this, the karmic perfection of it. They're going to feel trapped by the very situations they created through their negative actions. If they spread lies about you, they're going to find themselves trapped in a web of lies where they can't keep their story straight. If they manipulated situations to exclude you, they're going to find themselves excluded and isolated. If they tried to limit your opportunities, they're going to face limitations in their own lives. The Eight of Swords is also showing me mental anguish and confusion as part of this karma. These people are going to experience a period where they feel confused about why things aren't working out for them, why doors are closing, why opportunities are falling through, why relationships are deteriorating. They're going to feel blindfolded, unable to see clearly what's happening or how to fix it. And this mental confusion is going to be particularly difficult for them because they're used to feeling like they have control and power. There's an element of the Eight of Swords that speaks to consequences catching up in a way that feels suffocating. These people are going to start feeling like they can't breathe, like there's no escape from the results of their actions. Every direction they turn, they're going to find another sword, another obstacle, another consequence. And the more they struggle, the more entangled they're going to become. It's like quicksand, where panic and frantic movement only makes things worse. The Eight of Swords is also revealing that part of their karma involves being unable to see the truth or unwilling to face it. They're going to be blindfolded by their own denial, their own ego, their own refusal to take responsibility for their actions. And this blindfold is going to prevent them from finding their way out of their difficulties. The solution to the Eight of Swords is always to remove the blindfold and see the situation clearly. But that requires humility and self-awareness, which these people may not be capable of. What I'm also seeing with the Eight of Swords is that other people are going to start seeing through the facades and manipulations. The people who wronged you have probably been presenting a certain image to the world, playing a role, wearing a mask. But the Eight of Swords suggests that mask is going to slip, that image is going to crack, and people are going to start seeing the truth of who they really are. And once that happens, they're going to feel trapped by their own exposure, unable to restore the false image they've been projecting. The sixth card is coming through now, and I need to take a breath because the energy is really intensifying. I pulled the Page of Pentacles, and this card brings a completely different energy into the reading. After all these heavy, intense cards about endings and karma and entrapment, the Page of Pentacles arrives like a breath of fresh air. This card is about new opportunities, learning, practical beginnings, and the seeds of future success being planted. The Page of Pentacles is showing me that while all this karmic justice is unfolding, while these people who wronged you are entering their Eight of Swords period, you are simultaneously being presented with new opportunities for growth and material success. The Page of Pentacles represents the beginning of a new practical or financial chapter, and it comes with an energy of enthusiasm, studiousness, and dedication to building something real and lasting. What's beautiful about the Page of Pentacles appearing in this reading is the contrast it creates. While others are trapped and limited by their karma, you're being given opportunities to learn, grow, and build. The Page of Pentacles often indicates going back to school, starting a new job or business, learning a new skill, or beginning a project that has long-term potential. For you, Pisces, this could manifest in numerous ways, but the common thread is that you're being given a chance to create something tangible and valuable. The Page of Pentacles is also showing me a change in your relationship with the material world. Remember the Five of Pentacles at the beginning of this reading, where you felt abandoned and struggling financially or materially? The Page of Pentacles is the reversal of that energy. You're moving from scarcity consciousness to abundance consciousness, from feeling like resources are unavailable to you to seeing opportunities everywhere. This is a fundamental shift in how you relate to money, security, and material success. I'm seeing with the Page of Pentacles that this new beginning requires you to be willing to learn and to start from where you are, even if it's not where you want to be yet. Pages are always about beginnings, and beginnings can feel humble or small. But the Page of Pentacles is telling you not to despise small beginnings, because they contain the seeds of something much larger. That job that seems beneath your qualifications, that small business idea that seems too simple, that skill that seems basic. These could be the foundation for significant future success. The Page of Pentacles is also speaking to a quality of groundedness and practicality that you're developing or need to develop more fully. As a Pisces, you're naturally dreamy and intuitive, often more comfortable in the realm of feelings and imagination than in practical material reality. But the Page of Pentacles is teaching you to bring your dreams down to earth, to take your visions and make them concrete, to translate your creativity into something tangible that can sustain you practically. There's an element of the Page of Pentacles that speaks to being studious and diligent. This card is showing me that you're entering a phase where focused effort and attention to detail are going to pay off significantly. You're being asked to commit to learning, to mastery, to taking the time to really understand something deeply rather than just skimming the surface. This dedication to learning and improvement is going to set you apart and create opportunities that others miss. The Page of Pentacles is also revealing that you're being watched or noticed by people who have the ability to help you. Pages can represent messengers or young people, but they can also represent messages and opportunities coming through unexpected channels. Someone may be observing your work ethic, your dedication, your growth, and preparing to offer you an opportunity. Or you might receive news or a message about a practical opportunity that seems too good to be true, but is actually legitimate. What's really striking about the Page of Pentacles in this reading is the timing. While your enemies or those who wronged you are dealing with consequences and feeling trapped, you're being offered fresh starts and new opportunities. This isn't coincidence. This is the universe showing you that karma is real and that justice doesn't always look like punishment for others. Sometimes justice looks like you being blessed while they struggle. Sometimes justice is you moving forward into abundance while they remain stuck in the limitations they created. The Page of Pentacles is also speaking to your reputation being rebuilt or restored. Pages can represent messages and news, and I'm seeing that positive word about you is starting to spread. People are starting to see your value, your work ethic, your integrity. The lies that were spread about you during your difficult period are being exposed as lies, and your true character is being recognized. This restoration of reputation is opening doors that were previously closed. Now I'm pulling the seventh card, and the energy shifted again when this one came through. The card is the Hierophant, and this is a significant card for understanding the deeper spiritual dimensions of everything you're experiencing. The Hierophant represents tradition, spiritual wisdom, established institutions, conformity to social norms, and sometimes religious or spiritual authority. In your reading, this card is revealing multiple layers of meaning. The Hierophant is first showing me that there's a spiritual law or cosmic order at work in your situation that goes beyond individual actions and consequences. This isn't just about personal karma, although that's certainly part of it. This is about universal principles of justice and balance being enforced. The Hierophant represents divine order, the idea that there are spiritual laws that govern human affairs, whether we acknowledge them or not, and these laws are asserting themselves in your situation. What I'm seeing with the Hierophant is that the people who wronged you violated not just personal trust, but spiritual principles. They broke sacred rules about how we're supposed to treat each other, about integrity, about honesty, about compassion. And the Hierophant is showing me that violations of spiritual law carry spiritual consequences that can't be avoided or manipulated away. These people might have gotten away with things in human terms. They might have avoided practical consequences initially, but they can't escape spiritual consequences. The Hierophant is also speaking to the concept of divine timing and divine judgment. There's a sense with this card that everything is unfolding according to a higher plan that you couldn't see when you were in the middle of your struggle. The Hierophant represents faith in a higher order, trust that the universe operates according to principles that ultimately serve justice and growth. And this card is confirming that what's happening isn't random. There's a sacred pattern unfolding, and you're being asked to trust it even when you can't fully understand it. I'm also seeing with the Hierophant that this situation has been or will be witnessed by others in a way that creates collective understanding of truth. The Hierophant often represents community, society, public opinion, and established reputation. And this card is showing me that the truth about what happened between you and those who wronged you is going to become known in a more public way. Not necessarily that it will be splashed across social media or anything dramatic like that, but that the people who matter, the community that's relevant to your situation, they're going to understand what really happened. The Hierophant is also revealing something about your spiritual path and purpose being aligned with what you're experiencing. This whole situation, as difficult as it's been, is part of your spiritual education. You're learning lessons about karma, about justice, about faith, about integrity that you couldn't learn any other way. The Hierophant is a teacher card, and sometimes the universe teaches us through hardship and challenge, because those are the experiences that create the deepest wisdom. There's an aspect of the Hierophant that speaks to you potentially stepping into a role as a teacher or guide for others based on what you've experienced. The Hierophant represents spiritual authority earned through experience and understanding. You're going through this intense period of learning and transformation so that you can eventually help others who face similar challenges. Your story of surviving betrayal and witnessing karmic justice unfold is going to give hope and guidance to people who need it. The Hierophant is also showing me that traditional or established systems that these people thought they could manipulate or bypass are actually going to be part of their downfall. Maybe it's legal systems, maybe it's workplace hierarchies, maybe it's social structures or community standards, whatever the case. The Hierophant is revealing that the very systems and traditions that these people thought they were clever enough to work around are going to hold them accountable. What's really powerful about the Hierophant in this reading is the sense of sacred witness it brings. This card is saying that everything that happened to you, every betrayal, every lie, every moment of suffering, all of it was witnessed by the divine, by the universe, by cosmic intelligence. Nothing was missed. Nothing was forgotten. And the Hierophant represents that cosmic record being opened and read, that divine testimony being given. The truth is known at the highest levels, and that truth is now manifesting into material reality. Let me pull the 8th card now, because we're moving toward the conclusion of this reading, and I can feel that the final cards are going to bring everything together. The card that came through is the 9 of Swords, and when I saw this, after all the other Swords cards we've had, I understood that we're looking at a complete story arc of mental and emotional struggle reaching its conclusion. The 9 of Swords is traditionally the card of anxiety, nightmares, mental anguish, and the dark night of the soul. It's the card of lying awake at 3 a.m. worrying about everything, of being tormented by fears and regrets. And in your reading, the 9 of Swords is showing me two things simultaneously. It's showing me what you've experienced, and it's showing me what's coming for those who wronged you. For you, Pisces, the 9 of Swords represents the mental and emotional anguish you've been through as a result of everything that happened to you. The sleepless nights wondering why people turned on you, the anxiety about your future, the replaying of painful moments over and over in your mind, the fear that maybe you deserved what happened or that you'd never recover from it. The Nine of Swords is showing me that you've been in a state of mental torment that was largely invisible to others. You might have been functioning on the outside, going through the motions of daily life, but inside, you were experiencing profound distress. What's significant about the Nine of Swords appearing this far into the reading is that it's showing me this mental anguish is either already behind you or is in its final stages. The Nine of Swords is the second to last card in the sword suit, which means we're near the end of this mental cycle. You're not going to be trapped in this anxious, tormented state forever. In fact, the appearance of this card suggests that you're processing and releasing this mental pain right now. You're coming to terms with what happened, you're finding peace with the past, you're letting go of the questions that have no answers. The Nine of Swords is also showing me that much of your mental anguish came from trying to understand why people would do what they did to you. As a Pisces, you naturally try to see the good in people, to understand their motivations with compassion. But sometimes people do things that can't be understood or justified, and trying to make sense of senseless cruelty only deepens our pain. The Nine of Swords is telling me that part of your healing involves accepting that you may never fully understand why people chose to hurt you, and that's okay. You don't need to understand it to move past it. But now let's talk about the Nine of Swords as it applies to the people who wronged you, because this is where the karmic dimension becomes absolutely clear. The Nine of Swords is showing me that these people are entering or are about to enter a period of profound mental anguish. They're going to experience the anxiety, the sleepless nights, the tormenting thoughts that you experienced. And here's what makes this particularly significant in terms of karma. Their Nine of Swords experience is going to be caused directly by the consequences of their actions catching up with them. I'm seeing that these people are going to be kept awake at night by guilt, by fear of exposure, by anxiety about consequences they can see coming but can't avoid. The Nine of Swords often represents mental torment that we create for ourselves through our own thoughts and fears, and these people are going to be their own worst tormentors. Their consciences, which they've been suppressing or ignoring, are going to assert themselves with a vengeance. They're going to replay their actions toward you over and over, seeing them with new clarity, understanding the pain they caused, and being unable to escape the weight of that knowledge. The Nine of Swords is also showing me sleepless nights caused by very practical concerns. As their karma unfolds, as consequences manifest in their lives, they're going to be worried about money, about reputation, about relationships falling apart, about opportunities disappearing. They're going to experience the kind of anxiety that comes from watching your life unravel and not being able to stop it. And this anxiety is going to be particularly acute because they're going to recognize on some level that they brought this on themselves. There's an element of the Nine of Swords that speaks to isolation and feeling like you can't share your burdens with anyone. These people are going to feel alone with their anguish because they can't talk about what's really bothering them without exposing what they did. They can't seek comfort or support without risking people finding out the truth. So they're going to be trapped with their guilt, their fear, and their anxiety, unable to share it or process it with others. This isolation is going to amplify their mental anguish significantly. The Nine of Swords is also revealing that these people are going to be haunted by memories of what they did to you. The card literally depicts someone sitting up in bed, head in hands, with swords above representing tormenting thoughts. And I'm seeing that your face, your words, memories of moments when they betrayed you or hurt you, these are going to come back to them at unexpected times, and they won't be able to shake them off. They're going to be visited by the ghosts of their actions, so to speak. What's particularly interesting about the Nine of Swords in this position is that it represents suffering that's primarily mental and self-created. These people aren't necessarily going to be experiencing extreme external punishment, at least not yet. But their internal experience is going to be hellish. They're going to be tormented by their own minds, their own guilt, their own fears. And in some ways, this internal torment is worse than external punishment because there's no escape from your own thoughts. Now I'm pulling the ninth card and I can feel we're building toward the conclusion of this narrative. The card that came through is the Two of Wands. and this brings a completely different energy into the reading. After all these cards about struggle, entrapment, and mental anguish, the Two of Wands arrives with an energy of vision, planning, and looking toward the future with confidence. The Two of Wands is a card about standing at a crossroads and making decisions about which direction to take. It's about having the world in your hands, about seeing possibilities and potential stretching out before you. And in your reading, Pisces, the Two of Wands represents where you are right now or where you're moving into very soon. You're at a point where you can see multiple paths forward, multiple possibilities for your future, and you have the power to choose which direction you want to go. What's significant about the Two of Wands is the sense of mastery and confidence it brings. The figure in this card holds a globe, symbolizing that the whole world is available to them. And this is exactly the energy that's coming into your life. After everything you've been through, after surviving the Five of Pentacles period, after enduring the Ten of Swords betrayal, after experiencing the Nine of Swords mental anguish, you're emerging with a sense of personal power and possibility that you didn't have before. The Two of Wands is showing me that you're planning your next moves with wisdom and discernment. You're not rushing into anything. You're not making impulsive decisions. You're standing back and surveying the landscape of your life and your options with clear eyes. This is the benefit of everything you've been through. You now have the wisdom to choose your path carefully, to consider consequences, to trust your intuition about which direction will lead to your highest good. I'm seeing with the Two of Wands that you have more options available to you than you realize. You might be focused on one particular path or possibility, but this card is encouraging you to look around, to see all the potential directions you could take. You're not as limited as you think you are. In fact, after being in such a constrained and difficult situation, you now have a level of freedom and possibility that might even feel overwhelming at first. The Two of Wands is also speaking to partnerships and collaborations that are available to you. The Two in Tarot often represents partnership and balance between two forces. And this card is suggesting that you might be considering or should be considering partnerships that could help you build the future you envision. These aren't the toxic relationships from your past. These are genuine collaborations with people who respect you and want mutual success. There's an aspect of the Two of Wands that speaks to courage and boldness. This card is encouraging you to think big, to not limit yourself based on past experiences of limitation. Just because you experience scarcity and struggle doesn't mean that's your destiny. The Two of Wands is showing me that you're capable of achieving significant success and that you shouldn't be afraid to aim high. Your past does not define your future potential. The Two of Wands is also revealing something about international opportunities or broader horizons opening up for you. This could be literal travel, work opportunities in other places, or it could be metaphorical in terms of your influence and reach expanding beyond your current circles. The globe in the Two of Wands represents the whole world being available to you, and this suggests that you shouldn't limit yourself to local or familiar territory. What I find really beautiful about the Two of Wands appearing in this reading is the sense of standing on solid ground while looking toward expansive possibilities. You're not on shaky ground anymore. You've weathered the storms represented by the earlier cards in this reading, and now you're standing in a place of stability from which you can confidently plan your next moves. This combination of groundedness and vision is incredibly powerful. The Two of Wands is also showing me that you're integrating the lessons from your difficult experiences into your future planning. You're not forgetting what you learned, you're not ignoring the wisdom you gained through hardship. Instead, you're using that wisdom to make better choices, to select better paths, to build a future that's aligned with your authentic self, rather than with other people's expectations or limitations. Now let me pull the 10th and final card because this is going to bring everything together and show us the ultimate outcome of this karmic story. The card that came through is the Two of Cups. And when I saw this, I actually got emotional because this card is so perfectly appropriate for the conclusion of your reading. The Two of Cups is the card of partnership, mutual love, harmony, and balanced relationships. It's the card of finding your person, of soul connections, of relationships built on genuine respect and affection. The Two of Cups is showing me that after everything you've been through, after all the betrayal and isolation and struggle represented by the earlier cards in this reading, you're moving toward a period of genuine connection and partnership. This could be romantic love, but it doesn't have to be. The Two of Cups can also represent deep friendship, business partnership, or any relationship where there's mutual respect, genuine affection, and balanced give and take. What's absolutely beautiful about the Two of Cups as the final card in this reading is what it says about your ultimate reward for surviving everything you've been through. While the people who wronged you are dealing with their karma, dealing with their Nine of Swords mental anguish and their Eight of Swords entrapment, you're moving into a period of love, connection, and harmony. This is the universe showing you that goodness still exists, that genuine relationships are possible, that you deserve and will receive the kind of connection you've always wanted. The Two of Cups is also showing me healing through relationship. After being betrayed and hurt by people you trusted, the Two of Cups represents a healing relationship entering your life. This person or these people are going to help restore your faith in human goodness, in the possibility of real connection, in your own worthiness of love and respect. They're going to treat you the way you should have been treated all along, and that treatment is going to help heal the wounds left by those who hurt you. I'm seeing with the Two of Cups that this connection is going to feel easy and natural in a way that your previous difficult relationships didn't. There won't be drama, there won't be power struggles, there won't be manipulation or hidden agendas. The Two of Cups represents pure, uncomplicated connection between two people who genuinely like and respect each other. And after dealing with complicated, toxic relationships, this simplicity is going to be revelatory for you. The Two of Cups is also speaking to balance and equality in relationship. Unlike the dynamics you experienced with the people who wronged you, where there was an imbalance of power or respect, the Two of Cups represents a relationship where both parties are equal. Both give and receive equally, both respect and honor each other, both contribute to the relationship's success. This equality is going to feel completely different from what you've experienced before. There's an element of the Two of Cups that speaks to divine timing and sacred union. This isn't just any relationship. This is a connection that the universe has been preparing for you all along. Your difficult experiences, your period of isolation, your journey through darkness, all of that was preparing you to recognize and appreciate this genuine connection when it arrives. You had to experience false connection to recognize true connection. You had to know what love isn't to fully appreciate what love is. The Two of Cups is also showing me that this connection is going to inspire creativity and growth in both parties. The best relationships don't just make us happy, they make us better. They inspire us to grow, to create, to become more of who we're meant to be. And the Two of Cups is telling me that this relationship is going to be that kind of catalyst for you. You're going to flourish in ways you couldn't when you were isolated or in toxic relationships. What really strikes me about the Two of Cups as the final card is the sense of coming full circle. Remember that Ace of Cups earlier in the reading, the new emotional beginning? The Two of Cups is that new beginning having grown and matured into a genuine partnership. The Ace was the seed, the potential, the first stirring of new emotional energy. The Two of Cups is that potential having manifested into something real and tangible and beautiful. The Two of Cups is also revealing that you're not going to be alone for the next chapter of your life. Whatever you're building with the Page of Pentacles, whatever direction you're choosing with the Two of Wands, you're going to have a partner or ally beside you. You're not walking this path in isolation anymore. You have someone or will have someone who's genuinely on your side, who wants your success as much as their own, who celebrates your victories and supports you through challenges. Let me bring all of this together for you now, Pisces, because this reading has told us such a complete and profound story. You've been through an incredibly difficult period represented by the Five of Pentacles, where you felt abandoned and excluded, where you struggled in ways that people around you might not have even recognized. During this time, people who should have supported you instead betrayed you. delivering the Ten of Swords blow of complete ending and painful revelation. These people who wronged you were operating from the devil energy, trapped in their own darkness, jealousy, and unhealthy patterns. They caused you to experience the Eight of Swords, feeling of being trapped and limited, and the Nine of Swords, mental anguish of anxiety and sleepless nights. But here's what they didn't understand, and what the universe is now making clear. Every action has consequences, and karmic justice is real. While you were suffering, while you were struggling through your dark night of the soul, you were also being transformed. You were developing strength, wisdom, and clarity that you couldn't have gained any other way. And now, as represented by the Ace of Cups, you're receiving a new beginning emotionally and spiritually. The Page of Pentacles is bringing new practical opportunities and the chance to build real, lasting success. The Two of Wands shows you standing at a crossroads with the world in your hands, able to choose your path with confidence and wisdom. Meanwhile, the people who wronged you are about to enter their own period of difficulty. The Eight of Swords shows them becoming trapped by the very situations they created through their negative actions. The Nine of Swords reveals the mental anguish, guilt, and anxiety that's coming for them. The Devil shows them bound by their own darkness and unable to break free from the karmic consequences of their choices. The Hierophant confirms that divine law and spiritual justice are at work, ensuring that truth comes to light and that cosmic balance is restored. And your ultimate destination, your final card, is the Two of Cups. Love, partnership, genuine connection, and harmony. While they're trapped in consequences, you're moving into blessing. While they're experiencing darkness, you're moving into light. While they're isolated by their own actions, you're connecting with people who truly see and appreciate you. This is your year of truth, Pisces. Truth about who people really are, truth about your own strength and resilience, truth about how the universe operates and how karma manifests. The 6 evil spirits mentioned in your reading's theme are the negative energies that have been pursuing those who wronged you. These aren't literal demons, but the karmic consequences of betrayal, manipulation, jealousy, cruelty, deceit, and ego. Each negative action they took has created a spiritual consequence that's now catching up with them. And you need to understand something important. This isn't about you needing to seek revenge or even wanting bad things to happen to these people. This is simply the universe restoring balance. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to plot or plan or wish ill on anyone. You just need to focus on your own path, on the opportunities that are opening up for you, on the genuine connections that are entering your life, on building the future that you truly want. The sudden nature of what's coming, the fact that it arrives without warning as your theme suggests, this speaks to how karmic justice often works. It builds silently, invisibly, until suddenly the consequences manifest all at once. These people have been accumulating karmic debt for a while now, and they probably think they got away with what they did to you. They probably feel secure in their position, confident that there won't be consequences. But that's exactly when karma tends to strike, when people feel most secure in their wrongdoing. For you, the message is clear. Keep your head up, keep moving forward, keep building your new life. Don't look back at what happened to you with bitterness or regret. Instead, see it as the necessary refining fire that transformed you from who you were into who you're becoming. Everything you experienced had a purpose, even if that purpose wasn't clear at the time. You're stronger now, wiser now, more discerning now. And those qualities are going to serve you incredibly well in the next chapter of your life. Watch for the signs that I've described in this reading. Watch for new opportunities that seem to arrive out of nowhere, represented by the Page of Pentacles. Watch for moments when you realize you have more options and more power than you thought, represented by the Two of Wands. Watch for connections with people who feel different from the toxic relationships of your past, represented by the Two of Cups. These are all on their way to you. And if you hear about the people who wronged you experiencing difficulties, if you witness their karma unfolding, remember that this isn't about celebrating their downfall. This is simply confirmation that the universe sees truth, that justice is real, that actions have consequences. You can acknowledge that cosmic law is being fulfilled without taking personal satisfaction in anyone's suffering. Your job is not to judge them or punish them. Your job is simply to live your best life and trust that the universe handles the rest. The year of truth means that everything hidden is coming to light. The truth about what happened to you, the truth about who these people really are, the truth about your own strength and value, all of it is being revealed. And as these truths emerge, they're creating the foundation for a completely new chapter in your life. A chapter where you're no longer defined by what you survived, but by what you're building. A chapter where you're surrounded by genuine people rather than pretenders. A chapter where you're valued rather than undermined. So Pisces, take heart. The worst is behind you. The best is ahead of you. And karma is real. You don't have to do anything except keep being who you are. Keep choosing integrity over convenience. Keep choosing kindness over cruelty. Keep choosing truth over comfortable lies. The universe is on your side, and everything is unfolding exactly as it should.